What does the average wine enthusiast buy when he goes to the liquor store? Or as we affectionately know it in Ontario, the LCBO? We're going to find that out. Also, more thoughts on shipping wine to your house from awesome wineries within whatever country you're living in. All that and so much more on this episode of The Average Wine Enthusiast. Hi there, everybody. My name's Mike LaPlante, and I'm the Average Wine Enthusiast. Cheers. Today I came home, and again I find another box of wine sitting in my living room, shipped all the way from British Columbia, because British Columbia makes some good wine. It's in the same country that I live in, and the logistics of getting it here aren't difficult at all. This wine here is from Kettle Valley, and I just wanted to come to you guys just to show you again the terrific values you can get and the awesome shopping experience of having wine delivered right to your door. And the best part is it's from the winery itself. You know, I know I've talked on other shows about the online systems that are in place, wine.com, wineonline.ca, the Gargoyle Wine Club. All these are wholesalers basically of wine, and then they ship it as a retailer to customers who order it online. Well, the cheaper way to do it is to go right to the winery. Go to the winery's website and order it right from there. Now, you don't get to taste it before you drink it, of course. So it would be good if you could sample it some other way. Either, you go to the winery at some other point in time and then order it later on, or get recommendations and really do your research. That's a little risky, but it could be fun, right? I think so. So this is a case of wine that I ordered from Kettle Valley. They sent me an email telling me that they're releasing certain vintages of wine. And why do they do that? It's because I bought cases of wine from them before. So these releases are made available to folks who order wine in the past. So that could be you. It is me right now. And they let me know that their Cabernet Sauvignon 2016, their 2017 Merlot, their Syrah 2016, and their Zinfandel 2016 is available for release at special release prices. So you can get the wine cheaper if you commit to buying a box of their wine. And you get it at this special release price. So you're a customer who we know buys wine by the case, and we're going to let you know about these wines that we're releasing at this special price. And you have up until this day to get that price. After that, they're going to probably make it available in the tasting room and just regular retail customers as well. Then they'll put those wines up on their website. So you get a special price as long as you buy so many of their wines. So so I got a 2016 Cabernet Sauvignon. 2016, so they make the wine, probably keep it in a barrel for a couple years, at least 20 months probably. So they're bottling that wine in 2018. So that wine has been in a bottle for the last, could be up to 2 years. And now I have it. I think that is so smart of wineries to age their wine in bottles for you, and then you buy it at a little more of an increased price. I'm willing to pay that extra price for you to store your wine at your store, as opposed to me having to sell it when you first bottle it. I think the last time I showed you guys a box of wine I got from Deep Roots, and that was wine that they had just released. So like, it was just bottled, and as soon as it's bottled, they release it. And they do have a club that you can belong to, and I promise to buy so much wine from them per year. And the deal with them, though, is as a member, they ship it to me for free. So there's another bonus of wine clubs, whereas this is not shipped free. It cost me a roughly little less than $4 per bottle to get it from British Columbia to here. Let's take an example. The 2016 Cabernet Sauvignon, which is delicious, shipped to me, it's $26. So $22 plus the $4. $26 shipped to my door for amazing wine. Like, their wine is, they don't talk about on the back label about stuff like, hints of this and these types of notes, and they talk about the way it's made. These folks are very proud of their wine, as well as they should be, and they let you know how it came about, as it were. In this particular example, this is their 2016 Zinfandel, also very delicious. It says the grapes were handpicked on October 30th, 2016. Now, what a level of detail that you can find out about your bottle of wine. I just love that. And it had a Brix index of 25.8. That's just a sugar level that's measured in Brix, B-R-I-X. The wine has gone through a full malolactic fermentation and was aged in French oak for 21 months before being bottled. So it's telling you that this wine has been sitting in this bottle for, close to 2 years now. Here it is, September of 2020. And total production, 475 cases. Very small amount of this wine was made. So you had a small producer shipping their primo wine to you for 26 bottles, all in. I think it's amazing. I don't know, it just seems like this is the value. So I purchased those releases, but I also got a bottle of their Reserve Chardonnay, which is from the Adra station on Naramata Bench. So why did I get this, though, is because I got the Deep Roots Reserve Chardonnay, and it is a favorite of my wife's, and I find it very delicious as well for a Chardonnay. It is yummy. So I'm thinking that this may be just as good. It'll definitely bring out the characteristics of the winemaker there. When was this? What's the stats on this deal here? Oh, by the way, since this was not a release, this is a $30 bottle of wine. That's how much they sell it for at Kettle Valley if you were to go there. So that tells me something else as well, that they think it's worth $30. It talks about the Kettle Valley Railway, and that's probably has something to do with the Adra station. These grapes were handpicked on October 12th, 2016 at approximately 24.5 Brix. The grapes were crushed and left on the skins to cold soak prior to being pressed off and clarified. So they tell you how the wine is actually made. In this case, since it's a Chardonnay white wine, there's a different process as opposed to the Zinfandel that I read the label from there. This wine has been partially barrel fermented in newer French oak, and the total production on this Chardonnay is 220 cases. So that is not much wine. So you can just feel the love that they put into this wine. I love it. And $30 a bottle. I'll let you know if it was worth it or not. Check my Instagram account or my Facebook page if you're on Facebook, if you dare be on Facebook these days. Average Wine Enthusiast. All over the social medias there. And that's usually where I let people know what I'm drinking and what I think of it, and usually give some kind of notes on the stuff that I'm drinking as well. So I guess the larger point that I'm trying to get at here is the ability to store wine in your home. If you're ordering cases of wine from wineries within your country or from wherever, you're going to have some place to put this wine. In a corner somewhere, in a closet, is the best bet. If you have a basement with a cellar in it, that really is the best bet. But if you're an apartment dweller or you live in a condo or something and you don't have a basement or a cellar or anything like that, then you can just stack up 4-6 cases of wine in a corner in a closet, and then you too can take advantage of the value that you can get by ordering your wine by the case from a winery in an awesome wine region such as British Columbia. Okay, also on this episode, I just went to the LCBO just before I started shooting this, and that's where I buy a lot of wine. And I also always like to have a good supply of rosé in the house, because I pretty much drink rosé anytime that I feel like drinking wine on any given day. I'll usually start with a glass of some rosé. It's just one of those things. It's not high in alcohol, and it really gets your palate used to the taste of alcohol and wine, and it's just a great place to start, I find. And in that vein, let's take a sip of some of this fine Deep Roots Rosé, 2019, I believe. Not one of my favorite rosés. It's good, but it doesn't give me that traditional rosé, the French rosé that I'm fond of in a rosé. But being an enthusiast, I buy all different kinds of rosé. Their rosé is good, but it's a little sweeter than I would like, and it's a little more peppery than I like as well. So anyway, went to the LCBO to pick up some rosé, and I thought I'd just go through the box, because if I'm going to the LCBO, there isn't a lot of times I'll go there and buy less than a case. There's oftentimes I want to buy more than a case, but I usually keep it to one box of wine, walk out of there and spend a couple $100. So I'm just going to go through this box here and tell you what I bought. So this is the first bottle of rosé. It is a Rhone Valley Ventoux. Ventoux being a village in the Rhone Valley, and they make some very nice rosé in that neck of the woods, because hey, that's where rosé came from. Made from a blend of Grenache, Syrah, and Cinsault. This is a refreshing and full-bodied wine with aromas of red berries and hints of violet. That's what I like about French rosé. It is definitely full-bodied and dry. So I bought 2 bottles of that. Then I bought some Carte Noire, Côte de Provence, which is another, stronghold of rosé as well. There is no back label. There's barely a front label. And this also says it's made with Grenache and Cinsault. They call it cépage. So that's them telling us what blends they use. And did I buy 2 bottles of that? I want to say I did, because it's really good. And then I did not buy a bottle of rosé here. This is a bottle of Cave Spring Riesling. And I think I drank a bottle of this by accident, because my wife's daughter put a bottle of this in the refrigerator, and I just thought it was a bottle that I had thrown in there. 2017 Riesling on the shelf in the LCBO. I love it, and it is good. Good, inexpensive, local. When I say local, I mean Ontario. The next bottle is a rosé, and this is from Hawke's Bay, Villa Maria. This is a wine that I've tried before, and I found it very good. And why is that? It's from New Zealand, and in New Zealand they tend to grow lots of Syrah. So I'm quite certain that this rosé is made with Syrah. Will it tell me on the back of the bottle on the label? Nothing about that. It just this wine is is approachable and food friendly with aromas of ripe berry and fruits. Yes. So some Villa Maria from Hawke's Bay. I can recommend that for sure. And then we have some Muga. I've had a rosé made from Rioja in the past, but I don't think I've tried this brand. Rioja, of course, is in Spain, and they make Rioja wine, and it is made with Tempranillo grapes. And so that's what this rosé would obviously be made with. Our premium grapes harvested at the best ripeness are used. Garnacha and Tempranillo and Vura are skillfully blended to produce a fragrant, crisp, delicate rosé, which will complement summer picnics, salmon, and Thai foods. Best served chilled. Consume young. That doesn't mean drink it when you're a young person. That means drink it when it's young. This is a 2019, so it doesn't get any younger than that. So they're using Grenache and Tempranillo, and they use Grenache first, and they call it Granacha. And I don't think I've ever heard of this other varietal, Viura, Viura. I'll have to look into that. So that's Muga. That's one I haven't tried yet. Can't vouch for that one. And then there is another bottle that kind of caught my attention. I haven't had this one before either. It's called Bone Dry Rosé. And that's the way I like my rosé, is dry, that's for sure. And this is a product of Australia, where they also grow their Syrah, or they call it Shiraz. However, as I'm reading the back label, it says crafted from rapidly pressed estate vineyard Pinot Noir and Merlot grapes, then fermented dry and stirred on yeast lees to create this creamy and refreshing style. Creamy. This is a creamy rosé. Doesn't look creamy, but apparently it's bone dry. So that's another one I haven't tried. So the Muga from Spain and the bone dry from Australia. That is not a bottle of rosé. Did I buy? So I think that's all the rosé I picked up. And then what else did I get? Well, typically I'll go into the Rhone Valley section of the vintages section of the LCBO, the vintages section. Well, I've explained in a previous show. Go check it out. And this is La Chaise, which is a big brand in France. This is a 2015, and this is their Vaccaret, which is a village in the Rhone Valley. And it is they make some yummy wines there for sure. And I believe this is also going to be Syrah and Grenache. La Chaise Vaccaret is mainly produced from Grenache and Syrah, the most emblematic and local grape varieties of the Rhone Valley. Vaccarat is known for its exceptional terroir, sheltered by the famous Dantilles. When we went to France, we were in the shadows of the Dantilles. It's a mountain range that it looks like sharp teeth at the top of it. This wine reveals a delicate aroma of red fruits and violets. The palate is elegant and silky with soft tannins and a subtle spicy finish. And of course, they give a temperature to serve it. Red wine, oftentimes in Europe, is given a temperature, and it's between 15 and 16 degrees Celsius. So I have not tried that yet either, but I'm sure it's going to be delish. And then we have another Vaccaras by the wine company known as Halos of Jupiter. This is their version of Vaccaras, which I've yet to try this. And this is mostly Grenache, 85% Grenache, 15% Syrah. And I'll be enjoying this pretty soon. This is also a 2016. And both of these bottles of red less than $20. Then I bought a bottle of Conundrum, which is a California wine. It's a blend. It's full-bodied, lots of fruit-forward flavors, and it ages well, I find. And I have a couple bottles, or maybe one bottle left, I'm not sure, of 2015 in my cellar. So I just picked up a 2018 because it was on sale. This is an example of a wine that I really liked the first few times that I tried it. And then later on, as my palate had, I want to say matured, but it appreciated different characteristics of wine, I find that this is almost too much for my palate, but I definitely like to serve it. It's good with a steak or some chili perhaps. It really cuts through. So we're going to stick this in the cellar and let that do its thing. And then the last bottle I wanted to show you was a bottle of Lavaux, which is another Rhone Valley brand, I believe. But this is their Gigondas Village wine. Those usually have this, the raised glass, the Village wine. And the wine that comes out of Gigondas, which is just a little village in the south of France, or in the Rhone Valley, near the south of France, I guess you'd say. And they have been making wine in that village since the Romans were there 2,000 years ago. So there's that going on for it. There's just the culture of wine is in that little village, and there's a bunch of wineries there. As far as the Lavaux brand, I'm not familiar with it. What is the one that I am familiar with? The Chateau Saint-Côme. I have a couple bottles of that in my cellar that I'm looking forward to drinking. This is a 2016 Gigondas, and this was $36, which is kind of like a splurge for me because you don't see Gigondas too often in the LCBO. Very rarely, actually. I was looking, when I go to Quebec, usually they'll have a bunch of Gigondas. But the last time I went there, if you watched a few shows ago, I told you that the supply of wine is low, and finding a Gigondas was just not possible. And if I was in a sack and I found a Gigondas for $36, I would have picked it up. But I didn't find one, but I did find one today, and so I did pick it up. And I told my wife we'd drink it on a special occasion. I think that might be the anniversary of our trip to France, when we might open this, along with probably another bottle or two. So there you go. That's what the average wine enthusiast buys when he goes to the liquor store. Bunch of rosé to have rosé on hand most of the time. If I'm out of rosé, I feel like, ooh, I got to make sure I have some. It's like bread or milk or eggs or something like that. So I guess that's going to do it for this episode. I'd like to thank the Big Organ Trio for letting me use their music in the show. I'd also like to thank you for watching. And if you know anybody who is in the same boat as you, the wine boat, where we watch videos about wine on YouTube, let them know about the show and get them turned on. And hopefully they'll like it as much as you do because you're here right now listening to me talk about wine. So I guess that's going to do it, everybody. Again, my name is Mike LaPlante, and I'm the average wine enthusiast. Salute!